Hello everyone, I'm James from Kyroscope. Mars Colony 1 is a relaxing city builder where you place buildings, manage multiple resources, expand your colony, and build a rocket back to Earth. In this video, I'm going to show you how I created the game in 48 hours during the Magalu Game Jam on Big Festival 2022. Before the jam started, there was a live event where the hosts answered questions and released the theme. It was a simple audio track with construction sounds. It was clear that I should make a construction game. My latest released game, Grid Miner, is a construction puzzle game. I could use the construction system and just make different buildings with different resources and mechanics. Now, there was the question of art. I had been playing around with this Synthi Studios Sci-Fi Worlds pack, which had some really cool buildings for making a colony. So I decided to make a Mars Colony builder game. To get things started as quick as possible, I decided to copy the Grid Miner project and start from there. First thing would be to create a new art for the main menu. I had this asset lying around called the Mars environment, and it was perfect for creating a backdrop for the main menu screen. Now it was time to create a terrain for the game. I used some environment prefabs from the Synthi pack. I quickly put them together and set up grid lines to show the construction area. I also placed hills, cliffs, rocks, and craters on the map to make it more interesting. With the terrain ready, I could move forward to creating the basic buildings. The first building I decided to make is the landing pad. Since this was the first building, there were some bugs. The position was wrong and you could place buildings on top of each other. After solving some issues, I continued to create more buildings. First, the solar panel. When placed, it adds a fixed amount to the energy resource. Second, I created the miner. It had to be placed on top of a metal or ice deposit. It continuously adds to the resource pool. I had to spend some time there to create a script to check if the building is on top of a deposit and to add resources to the player's stockpile. Then I created the habitat, a building that adds more colonists. And then the farm, which continuously adds to the food resource. With the buildings and resources deposits, the project was starting to look like a game. You could kind of build a colony and expand as you gathered resources. The very basic was here, but now the game needs rules for winning and losing. This part took a while to get it working. For winning the game, the player has to complete objectives. The player needs 30 colonists and no more than 3 can die. If 3 colonists die, the player loses the game. For colonists to die, I created a mechanic for food and water consumption. The more colonists, the more resources used. If the colony runs out of water or food, an alert message is shown to the player, and if not solved, a colonist dies every 30 seconds. With this, I had a very bare bones game that could be won or lost. It was still not very fun. There was only 4 different buildings with very basic mechanics. I had to add more buildings with something interesting and different. At this point, I had about 12 hours to deliver the game. I hadn't slept the last night and was very tired. But I had to go on and finish the game. After taking a break and having breakfast, I decided I would add a monument building that would be linked to the game's win state. The building would be a launch pad that, after being placed, consumes resources to build a rocket. When the rocket is ready, it's launched with some special effects and counts as one of the objectives for winning the game. Obviously, this took way longer than I calculated, about 3 hours, but it was worth it. Getting the animation just right was a bit tricky for my tired brain. Then I quickly wrote some credits and made them work. Then I wrote a very basic and an underwhelming tutorial using Inky, which is awesome. I created a new special sound effect for when you place buildings. using the idea from the Game Jam's theme. Then I added a new building, the power plant, which requires the colonies to operate but produces a lot more energy. The game was almost ready, but it lacked a soundtrack. So I switched to Reason and made a very atmospheric song using a pad instrument and a texture instrument with a reverb and some distortion effects. With the soundtrack in place, I finally made a build of the game. Everything went smooth. I played the game from start to finish and it took about 15 minutes. There were no ugly or game-breaking bugs, just a typo on the tutorial text. And with that, I uploaded the game to itch.io and made the submission to the Game Jam, 3 minutes before ending. It was close, but everything worked out okay. "48 hours is a very short time to make a game. In the end, there was no time for balancing or to add more buildings. But overall, I'm very happy with the end result. The game has a little bit of polish, no major bugs, and it looks good. If you want to play Mars Colony 1, there's a link in the description below. You can download it for free on itch.io, and if you have any feedback, please leave a comment. Thanks, and see you next time.